Hi there, nice to see you in this new chapter. I'm Andrea and today we are going to talk about the wonderful aspect that happened in the epoch called Modern English. So I, as an anthropologist, I could describe some detail that happened in that epoch. For example, now I'm going to talk and explain about the way and how the dressing in the past. And second, I'm going to tell about the human movement. And finally, I'm going to present some important characters that lived in that epoch. For example, Henry VIII, Anne Boleyn, Elizabeth I, and John Milton. So let's start and pay attention to me. First of all, the Renaissance was a fervent period of European political, cultural, artistic, and economic. It was called Revere, following the Middle Ages. And also, the Renaissance promoted the rediscovery of classical philosophy, literature, and artists. And some of the greatest thinkers, authors, scientists, and artists of the human history prospered during this era, while global exploration created and opened up new lands, new culture to the European commerce. In religion, Martin Luther King made some challenges. He caused the invasion of one of the major institutions that had united to Europe throughout the Middle Ages. What was it? The church. Moreover, in the 14th century, a cultural movement that was called humanism began to gain impulse in Italy. And human improved the idea that the man was the center of his own universe. And people should embrace humanist achievement in education, social arts, literature, and science. Now I can wonder about how was the modern man in English culture at that period of time. Okay, mainly the man of Renaissance aspired to fully enjoy the present life and demanded the absolute freedom of reason to seek the true and avert knowledge of himself and nature. And also, at that time, the mass was so curious. That's the reason why they could decide and shoot about their behavior, their knowledge, their ideas, social and theological ideas. On the other hand, I can add about how they dress. For example, about women's clothing. The basic clothing was a long sleeve white line undershirt. Over it, a high-waisted dress of a contrasting color. At the end of that century, the neckline was made in a V shape up to the waistline, and a piece of rigid fabric was added to cover the chest like an inverted triangle. The sleeve opened up the shoulder and the elbows at the back to reveal the sleeve and the undergarment. The main piece of the feminine wardrobe will be the undergarment. And also, the garments emphasize broad shoulder, a long narrow waist, and a wide hip. The upper part of the female body was oppressed with a corset-type undergarment made of rigid material. Projecting a big chest, this effect was enhanced by using a rigid and triangular weave. Women used a long capes of undergarments. About men's clothing, in the Renaissance, the garments of the Middle Ages were kept, added in green colors in the form of pitched, strips, squares, and triangles. The garments accentuated the physique, the shoulder, the pectorals, and they always had a belt that was placed at the waist. Leggings were discontinued, being replaced by a stocking that accentuating the crotch. In addition, at this point, I'm going to mention some important characters like Henry VIII, was King of England and Lord of Ireland, April 22, 1509, until his death. He was the second monarch of the Tudor house. He was married 6 times and had the most absolute power among all the English monarchs. Notable events of his reign include the break with the Catholic Church and the establishment of the monarch as supreme head of the Church of England. English Church, the dissolution of the monastery and the union of England with Wales. And also the rupture of him with the Catholic Church occurs by the marriage of him with Anne Boleyn. Due to his break with the Catholic Church, Henry VIII initiated the scene of Greek, Spanish, or French inventions. To protect the coast, he improved numerous defenses and created enormous constructions. How about Anne Boleyn? Okay, was the second wife of Queen Henry VIII and the mother of Queen Elizabeth I, one of the most important monarchs in British history. The murder of Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn and her sequence execution were part of the considerable political and religious event, and with it the English Reformation began. Anne Boleyn actively participated in promoting the cause of the reform of the church. She has been called the most influential and important queen consort England that has ever had. In addition, Elizabeth I of England was a Queen of England and Ireland from November 17 in the year 1588 until the day of her death. Elizabeth was the fifth and last monarch of the Tudor dynasty. Elizabeth was the daughter of Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn. The marriage of Anne with Henry VIII was annulled and Elizabeth was declared illegitimate. But despite the fact that the law established that Elizabeth was queen, but while Mary became queen during her reign, Elizabeth was imprisoned for almost a year for suspicion of supporting the Protestant rebels. Finally, I'm going to talk about John Milton. He was an English born and intellectual who served as a civil servant for the Commonwealth of England under his Council of State and later under Oliver Cromwell. He wrote at that time about religious floods and political revolution, and is best known for this epic poem, Paradise Lost, that was born in 1667, written in blank verse. Something to highlight is that Paradise Lost is widely considered to be one of the greatest works of literature. Once Paradise Lost was published, Milton's stature as epic poet was immediately recognized. He cast a formidable shadow over English poetry in 18th and 19th centuries. He was often judged equal or superior to all other English poets, including Shakespeare. And finally, the political ideas of John Milton, Luke Sidney, and James Harrison strongly influenced the radical ideologies. His thoughts were centered in the American Revolution, and also he wrote a quote for the United States Constitution. A good book is the precious lifeblood of a master spirit, involving and treasured up on a purpose to a life beyond life. It is displayed in many public libraries, including the New York Public Library. Thank you so much for watching me and see you in the next chapter. Bye bye.